The night sky above Earth was quiet. Stars looked like cold eyes watching. Far away, ships moved in silence, hidden beyond the human eye. They were not human ships. They belonged to something older, something cruel. For thousands of years, aliens had studied life across the galaxy. They collected species, tested them, and judged them. Some were useful, some were dangerous, most were ignored. When they looked at humans, they made one simple judgment. Humans were flawed. Their DNA carried chaos, violence, and emotions too strong. To the Alien Council, this was weakness. To them, humans were unstable creatures, not worth notice until one day, a single human proved them wrong. Her name was Alara. She was not a soldier, not a leader, not a scientist. She was born in a small, forgotten town. Her life was normal, quiet, and unimportant. At least that was what she believed. But inside her blood, inside her DNA, there was something different, something the aliens had never seen, something dangerous. The story began when the message came. It was not a human signal. No country, no government, no satellite had sent it. It came from deep space, carrying strange sounds, patterns, and shapes. At first, humans thought it was noise, random static from a dying star. But then, computers found structure inside the signal. It was language. It was alien. And hidden inside that signal was one thing: coordinates. The world governments panicked. Some wanted to ignore it. Some wanted to investigate. But before humans could even decide, the sky opened. Ships appeared above Earth. They did not come with peace. They came with judgment. The aliens called themselves the Valerie. They were tall, with silver skin and eyes like burning glass. They had no mouths, no expressions, only voices that echoed in the minds of humans. When they spoke, the world froze. Your species is unstable. Your DNA is flawed. You will not leave this planet. You will not join the stars. The message was clear. Humanity was to remain caged forever. But something strange happened. The Valari did not leave. They began to search. They moved through cities, scanning humans with beams of light. They collected samples. They were looking for something. And then, in a small village, they found her, Elar. At first she did not understand why they had chosen her. Soldiers came to her home, taking her away. Her family screamed, but the aliens did not care. Ilara was dragged into the ship, locked in a chamber of light. She was terrified. She thought it was the end. But it was not the end. It was the beginning. The Valari scanned her DNA, and for the first time in thousands of years they hesitated. What they saw inside her blood was not weakness, was not chaos. It was power. Her genes carried something that no other human had: a mutation. A design that nature itself had written in secret. One alien turned to the other and whispered in, thought, this should not exist. But it did. Ilara sat in silence, shaking, her heart racing. She could feel something inside her, something waking up. Her skin burned, her veins glowed faintly. She touched the walls of the chamber, and the ship responded. Lights flickered. Machines trembled. The alien stepped back. In that moment, Alara realized something terrifying. The aliens had not come to destroy humanity. They had come to contain it. They had seen what she carried. They had seen the possibility of what humans could become, and they were afraid. The Valari tried to erase her, prepared their weapons, their tools, their cold machines. But before they could act, the power inside her exploded. Not fire, not lightning. Something older, deeper. The ship shook as if the stars themselves roared. Alarms screamed. The aliens staggered. And Alara, for the first time, opened her eyes. Fully. Her voice echoed in the chamber. But it was not only her voice, it was something greater, something vast. You call my DNA flawed, she said. But humans call it something else. We call it survival. The aliens had studied thousands of species. They had ruled the stars for centuries. But in that moment, in front of one human, they felt something they had not felt in a very long time: fear. Outside, Earth watched the skies. People saw fire falling, ships trembling, shadows breaking apart above the clouds. They did not know what was happening. They only knew one thing: humanity was no longer weak, and Alara was no longer just a girl. She was the beginning of something. The galaxy had tried to stop, something that could not be stopped. The alien ship was breaking apart. Fire spread across its halls. The Valari shouted in their strange mind voices, trying to contain the storm that Alara had unleashed. But she was no longer the same frightened girl they had dragged from her home. Her veins still glowed faintly, like rivers of light moving under her skin. She did not understand what had happened, but she knew one thing: she was not powerless anymore. The aliens tried to control her. They used beams of force, trying to pin her body against the walls. But each time their machines touched her, the energy inside her bent them, twisted them, and broke them apart. Sparks rained down. Panels fell from the ceiling. One alien there. Commander stood before her. Silver eyes glared, burning like twin suns. "Your corruption." His voice thundered in her head. "Your DNA must be erased before it spreads." Ilara's voice trembled, but it carried strength. "I didn't choose this, but I will not let you erase me." The commander raised his hand, and a weapon unfolded. It was made of light and steel, something that could cut through stone in a second. He struck. Ilara raised her hand without thinking. The weapon stopped in midair. Time seemed to freeze. And then, like glass shattering, the weapon broke apart into 1,000 fragments. The Valari staggered back. For the first time, their perfect calm was broken. Fear leaked into their thoughts. Alarms grew louder. The ship was dying. Outside, streaks of flame cut across the sky as pieces of alien metal fell toward Earth. From the ground, people stared upward, pointing, shouting, recording. Nobody knew what was happening, but the world could feel that something impossible was taking place. Inside the ship, Ilara felt the walls trembling. She had to escape. She did not know how, but her instincts guided her. She placed her hand against the wall, and the metal softened, opening like a door. A path formed in front of her. The aliens tried to stop her, but the ship itself seemed to betray them. Lights flickered, doors sealed against their will, machines refused to obey. It was as if the ship had begun to listen to her instead of them. She reached a chamber with a wide glass window. Through it, she saw earth-blue oceans, white clouds, green lands, her home. She felt her chest tighten. She had to go back. She had to warn them. The commander appeared again, burned, furious but unbroken. "You are not a savior," he hissed. "You are the seed of war. If humanity learns what you are, the galaxy will burn." Ilara stared at him. "Maybe it should burn," she whispered. And with that, the window shattered. Wind roared into the chamber. The commander was torn away, into the dark. Lara should have been pulled out too, but the power inside her wrapped around her like invisible wings. She did not fall. She did not die. Instead, the light carried her down. She floated through fire and debris, falling toward Earth until she crashed in the forests below. The ground shook. Smoke rose. And then silence. When Alara opened her eyes, she was surrounded by soldiers. Not alien soldiers, humans. Their guns were raised. Their eyes were wide. They had seen her fall from the sky like a star. One man stepped forward, his uniform marked with the insignia of the Earth Defense Force. "Who are you?" he demanded. Ilara struggled to breathe. "They called me Flawed," she whispered. "I think I'm exactly what they fear." The soldiers exchanged glances. They had fought aliens before, small attacks at the edges of Earth's atmosphere, but nothing like this. Nothing like her. Back in orbit, the remaining Valari ships watched. They had lost one vessel, but their mission was not over. The Council would not allow this mutation to survive. It would send more. It would send everything. On Earth, Ilara sat in a military tent, hours later, wrapped in a blanket. Generals and scientists surrounded her, whispering, arguing. Some saw her as a weapon. Some saw her as a danger. But all of them knew the same truth. Humanity had changed forever. Ilara's eyes darkened as she remembered the commander's words. If humanity learns what you are, the galaxy will burn. She wondered if he was right because deep inside her, she could feel it, the power was still growing, and somewhere in the stars. The Valari were preparing to return. This time, they would not come with warnings. They would come with war. The forest where Ilara had landed was now silent. The crash site had been covered with tents, lights, and soldiers. Scientists rushed in with machines, measuring radiation, collecting samples of alien debris. Reporters were kept far away, but rumors spread like wildfire across the world. People spoke of a girl who fell from the sky. Some said she was an angel. Others whispered she was an alien weapon. No one knew the truth, except the few who had seen her glow with their own eyes. Inside a secured military base, Ilara sat in silence. Her body looked human, but her blood told a different story. Doctors tried to take samples, but the needles melted before they could pierce her skin. Machines overheated when they scanned her. She was no longer just human. She was something. More of the generals watched her closely. Some wanted to lock her away, afraid of what she might do. Others wanted to study her, to turn her power into a weapon for Earth. One man, General Kale, believed in neither. He walked into the room, his boots heavy, his eyes sharp. "You are not our prisoner," he said calmly. "But you are not free either. Do you understand?" Ilara looked at him, her voice quiet. "The aliens, they called. My DNA flawed. Debt! They were afraid of me." "Why?" Kale hesitated. He had fought the Valari before, small battles in space, never on Earth's surface. He had seen their cold precision, their unshakable calm. For them to fear anyone was unthinkable. "They don't fear you," Kale said at last. "They fear what you represent. If every human becomes like you, then their rule ends." Heart raced. She had never wanted power. She had never asked for this. But now her very existence was enough to shake the galaxy. Outside, the world argued. Governments fought with each other. Some said Ilara must be hidden so the aliens would not strike again. Others demanded she be turned into a weapon, Earth's first super soldier. The answer to alien tyranny, and in the shadows, spies listened, waiting. Because not every human leader wanted to protect her. Some wanted to sell her. Some wanted to control her for themselves. Meanwhile, in the darkness of space, the Valari Council gathered. Their great chamber was carved from black stone, lit by rivers of glowing silver. Voices of countless commanders filled the hall. The mutation cannot be allowed to spread. One said, "She must be destroyed before humanity understands what it has," said another. But there was fear in their voices. For thousands of years, the Valari had judged species, conquered them, caged them. None had ever resisted. But now, one human girl had broken a ship with her bare hands. "She is not alone," the High Speaker whispered. "She is the first. More will follow. We must burn this seed before the fire spreads." And so, fleets began to move. Silent armadas formed at the edge of the solar system, dozens of ships, then hundreds. Their weapons gleamed in the starlight. They would not repeat their mistake. This time, they would not capture. This time, they would erase. Back on Earth, Ilara lay awake in her room. She could not sleep. She could feel the power inside her, growing stronger each hour. Sometimes it frightened her. Sometimes it felt alive, as if it wanted to speak to her. She looked at her reflection in the mirror. Her eyes glowed faintly now, even in the dark. She whispered to herself, "Am I still human?" Outside, General Kale stood with his officers. They had just received the latest report from Earth's satellites. Something was coming. Something massive. "Sir," a soldier said, his voice shaking. "There are hundreds of ships at the edge of the system. Thousands, maybe more." Kale's face hardened. He knew what it meant. War was coming, but Earth was not ready. Humanity had weapons, yes. They had ships, yes. But against the Valari, they were nothing less. Unless they had something the aliens did not expect. His eyes turned toward Ilara's room, toward the girl who should not exist, the girl the aliens feared. He clenched his fist. "Get her ready," he ordered. If humanity has a chance, it starts with her. Lara did not yet know it, but soon the whole world would look to her, not as a prisoner, not as a threat, but as the spark of survival. And far above, the alien fleets waited. The stars were about to burn. The sky was no longer quiet on the night it began. The stars above Earth seemed to move. People pointed upward, confused at first, thinking it was a meteor shower. But then the streaks of light grew brighter, closer, faster. And when the first one struck the ocean with a roar that shook the continents, humanity understood was not a meteor shower. It was an invasion. The Valori had returned. Cities fell into panic. Sirens wailed. Governments ordered evacuations, but the alien strikes were too fast. Towers of fire rose where the beams touched. In seconds, streets turned to molten stone. Earth's defenses tried to respond. Fighter jets screamed across the skies. Missiles launched from silos hidden deep in the ground. Fleets of human ships rose into orbit. But the Valori were older, stronger, precise. Their weapons cut through steel like it was paper. Human ships broke apart in fire before they could even fire a second shot. Inside the military base, alarms blared. Lights flashed across the halls. Soldiers rushed past carrying rifles, though everyone knew rifles meant nothing against ships from the stars. Ilara stood at the center of it all. She felt the explosions rumble through the ground. She saw the fear in every soldier's eyes. Hands trembled. General Kale stormed into the room. His voice was sharp, urgent. "They are here. They'll not stop until they find you." Ilara's heart raced. "Why me?" she whispered. Kale's gaze was heavy. "Because you are the one thing they cannot control. They will burn the world to take you." Ilara closed her eyes. She remembered the commander's words on the ship. "You are the seed of war." The power inside her stirred again, hot and wild, as if it wanted to answer the fire in the skies. But she was afraid. What if she lost control? What if she destroyed more than she saved? Suddenly, the base shook, the ceiling cracked. Dust fell like rain. A blinding beam tore through the outer walls. Soldiers screamed as the alien drones descended, machines of black steel, tall as houses, with glowing cores that pulsed like hearts. They had found her. Move her. Now, Kale shouted. Soldiers formed a line, opening fire on the drones. Bullets sparked harmlessly against their shields. The machines advanced without slowing, their steps heavy, their weapons burning holes through the walls. Ilara felt her fear rising higher and higher, till it became something else, something sharp. The glow spread from her veins, brighter than before, filling the room with silver light. Soldiers froze, staring. Even the drones paused, as if the machines themselves hesitated. Ilara stepped forward. Her voice shook, but it carried like thunder. "Stay away from them." ... The nearest drone raised its cannon and fired. A beam of searing light shot toward her. But instead of burning her, the beam bent in midair, wrapping around her body. Like a ribbon of fire before shattering into sparks. Gasps filled the room. Ilara raised her hand. The air trembled. The drone's glowing core flickered, then cracked, like glass. In a single burst, the machine exploded, throwing fragments across the hall. The soldiers ducked for cover. Kale stared wide-eyed. She can break them. The other drones moved in, but Ilara was faster. She could feel their energy, their cold machines, their alien codes. With every step, she bent them, broke them, tore them apart, until the room was filled with fire and falling steel. When the last drone fell, silence returned. Smoke curled through the broken walls. Soldiers rose slowly, their faces pale but alive. Ilara fell to her knees, breathing hard. Her body shook, her skin still glowing faintly. She looked at her hands, terrified. I didn't mean to do all of that." Kale knelt beside her. "You saved us. Don't be afraid of what you are. Be afraid of what happens if you don't use it." But outside, the battle was far from over. From orbit, the Valori fleets opened fire. Beams of light cut across oceans and mountains. Cities burned. Humanity's weapons failed one after another. The world trembled under the weight of a war it had never been prepared to fight. In the council ship, high above, the alien commander watched the destruction. His eyes glowed cold. "Find her," he ordered. "If she resists, destroy everything." Around her, Earth must learn humans do not belong among the stars. Back on the ground, Alara stood again. Her fear was still there, but so was something else in Gars. She thought of her family, hidden far away in that small forgotten town. She thought of the billions of humans who had no power, no weapons, only hope. She clenched her fists. The light inside her grew brighter. "If they want me," she whispered, "then I will give them a fight they'll never forget." And with that, the girl the aliens once called Flawed stepped into the fire of war. The world was burning. Across the continents, alien beams struck without mercy. Great cities turned to ash. Oceans boiled where the light touched. Humanity fought back with everything it had: missiles, tanks, jets butt against the Valari. The weapons of Earth looked like toys. And yet, in the middle of despair, a name began to spread. Soldiers whispered at first, then civilians. Then the entire planet, Lair, the girl who had fallen from the sky. The one who broke alien machines with her hands. The one who fought back when no one else could. Some called her humanity's weapon. Some called her their savior. For the first time in history, all of humanity looked not to governments or generals, but to her, inside a hidden command center. Deep beneath the ground, General Kale stood beside Alara as world leaders appeared on screens. Their voices were desperate, their faces lined with fear. "They are killing us everywhere," one cried. "Our cities are falling," shouted another. "We cannot win this war." Kale's voice cut through the noise. "We can, but only with her." He turned to Alara. "Show them." Alara hesitated. She had never wanted to be anyone's weapon. She had never wanted to be the center of the world. But she remembered the screams when the drones attacked. She remembered the fire in the sky. She remembered her family, still out there, still in danger. Slowly, she raised her hand. Silver light flowed from her skin, filling the chamber. The walls shook with power. Machines flickered, not breaking this time, but bending to her will. The leaders fell silent. For the first time, hope touched their eyes. Kale spoke again. "The aliens call her Flawed. I call her the future. Stand with her, or fall without her." Number one argued after that, but the Valari were not waiting. That same night, their fleets opened their war gates. From orbit, they released their ground armies, thousands of towering war machines. Beasts of steel and shadow, descending in waves. They struck forests, deserts, and cities alike. Everywhere the same message echoed in human minds: surrender the girl, or be erased. The answer came not from generals, not from presidents, but from soldiers in the field. "Come and take her." And so the ground war began. The first great battle erupted in the ruins of New London. Alien walkers marched through the shattered streets, their weapons melting buildings into rivers of stone. Human tanks fired back, jets dived from above, but the machines kept coming. Then Alara arrived. She walked alone at first, her eyes glowing faintly. Soldiers around her stared in silence, unsure if she was real or just a legend. The machines saw her too. Their cores lit, their cannons locked. Beams of death cut through the air toward her, but before they struck, Alara raised both hands. The light inside her roared outwards, wrapping around her like armor. The beams bent, broke, and vanished in sparks. She stepped forward, calm, steady. With a single gesture, the nearest walker collapsed into itself, folding like paper before exploding. The soldiers gasped, then cheered. "Push forward." Kale's voice shouted through their radios. With her, fight with her. The battlefield changed. For the first time, human lines advanced instead of falling back. Tanks rolled forward beside her. Infantry surged with renewed courage. Aliens fired, but Alara shattered their weapons one after another. One soldier, covered in dirt and blood, whispered as he reloaded his rifle. "She's not just fighting with us. She's making us believe we can win." But victory was not easy. The Valar sent more. Hundreds of drones swarmed the sky. Walkers the size of towers stomped through the streets. Their commander's voice echoed again, cold and furious. You are not hope. You are infection. You will be erased. Lara's body shook as the power surged inside her. She felt it straining, burning, demanding more. She pushed harder, raising walls of light to shield the soldiers, tearing apart drones. In the air, but every use left her weaker. Her vision blurred. Her chest burned. Still, she refused to stop. When the largest walker stepped forward, a monster of steel taller than the ruins around it, Alara raised both hands, screamed, and released everything she had. The ground split, the air cracked. Giant machine froze, trembled, and then broke apart, falling like a collapsing mountain. The battlefield fell silent. Human soldiers raised their weapons and roared. For the first time, they had not only survived, they had won. Alara dropped too, her knees exhausted. Kale rushed to her side, pulling her back to her feet. You gave us more than victory, he said. You gave us belief. But Alara's eyes were distant. She felt something darker. When she unleashed her power, it had spoken to her not in words, but in feeling. Something deep, ancient, hidden in her blood, something that was not finished yet. And far above, the Valarii commander watched the defeat with rage. His fleet was vast, but for the first time it was not enough. He turned. To the council, his voice like steel. If humanity rallies around her, the stars themselves will fall. We cannot allow this. We must bring the full arm of the Empire. No more warnings. No more mercy. Burn the earth until nothing remains. The galaxy had begun to tremble, and humanity, led by the girl once called Flawed, was ready to rise. The Valarii did not accept defeat. The loss at New London was only the beginning. Within days, their fleets moved closer to Earth. Thousands of warships filled the skies, blotting out the stars. From orbit, they prepared to launch their final strike and assault to erase not just armies, but the entire human race. On Earth, people watched in fear. Across every screen, news showed the black clouds of alien ships gathering above. Some wept. Some prayed. Others clenched their fists, whispering the same name. Lar. She had become more than a girl. She had become a symbol. Soldiers painted her mark on their armor. Civilians carried her name on banners in the rubble of fallen cities. She was hope. But inside, Ilara was afraid. In the hidden command bunker, she sat alone, her body trembling. Every battle left her weaker, yet every time she fought, the power inside her grew larger, louder, harder to control. It whispered to her, like a voice, without words. When General Kale entered, he found her staring at her glowing hands. You're breaking yourself, he said softly. Ilara's voice shook. It's not just me. This power doesn't feel human. What am I, Kale? Kale looked at her, heavy with silence. Then he spoke. Our scientists studied your blood. They found something we've never seen before. Your DNA is not only human. It carries fragment codes that match nothing on Earth. They are older. Alien, maybe. Designed. Her chest tightened. You mean I was made? Kale shook his head. Not made. Changed. Maybe by nature. Maybe by something else. But whatever it is, it's the reason the Valarii fear you. It's the reason they came here. Before she could answer, alarms blared through the bunker. Soldiers shouted across radios. A hologram filled the room, showing a swarm of ships descending. Invasion had begun. From the skies, fire rained down. The Valarii unleashed waves of destruction, leveling cities, burning forests, drowning coasts. But this time, humanity did not scatter. They stood. Across the world, armies rose. Tanks rolled. Through ruined streets, jets soared into the fire. Civilians carried weapons, joining the fight. Humanity had no chance of matching the Valari's power yet. They fought anyway. And they fought because they had seen one girl stand against the impossible in the ruins of Tokyo. Lara walked forward as alien war machines descended. Hundreds of drones swarmed the skies. Walkers crushed the earth with their steps. Soldiers braced for death. Ilara raised her hands. The light burst from her body, spreading like a shield across the battlefield. Beams from the alien cannons bent against it, breaking apart like waves against a cliff. Soldiers behind her stared, then surged forward with renewed courage. The battle was chaos. Human rockets screamed into the air, striking alien ships. Tanks fired until their barrels burned red. Drones dived, but Ilara tore them apart with a gesture. She moved like lightning, her glow cutting through the dark. But deep inside her, the voice grew stronger. Every time she used her power, she felt it pulling at her mind, filling her veins with heat. She almost lost herself in it. Then, in the middle of the battle, everything froze. A shadow passed over her. Larger than any walker she had faced before, a Valkyrie warbeast descended. It was not a machine. It was alive, a creature of metal and flesh, bound with alien chains, its eyes burning like suns. The soldiers fell silent in terror. Even Kale, watching from the command line, felt his chest grow cold. The beast opened its mouth, and a voice filled the battlefield. The same commander who had once tried to erase her. "You are not hope. You are design. You are ours." Ilara staggered, her vision spinning. She felt the truth behind the words. This power inside her, was it given by the Valkyrie themselves? Was she their experiment left behind, waiting to awaken? The soldiers looked at her, desperate, waiting. She felt their fear, their hope, their belief in her, and she made her choice. "I don't care where this power came from," she shouted, her voice echoing across the ruins. "It is mine now, and I will use it to protect them." Her body blazed like a star. She leaped forward, meeting the warbeast head-on. Claws of steel slashed, but her shield held. She struck, and light tore through the creature's flesh. It roared, the sound shaking mountains, but Ilara did not stop. The soldiers roared with her, surging into the fight. Above, the Valkyrie fleets watched in silence. For the first time, their perfect order was cracking. For the first time, they felt the shadow of defeat. And deep in the council chambers far away, the High Speaker whispered a truth none of them wanted to accept. If she survives, humanity will not rise alone. They will rise to rule. The galaxy was trembling, and Ilara was no longer just fighting. For Earth, she was fighting for the future of every species the Valkyrie had ever caged. The war spread across the Earth, every continent burned. From deserts to oceans, from mountains to cities, the Valkyrie armies fell like storms. There. Machines. Dark in the skies, their ships blocked the sun. Humanity should have broken, should have surrendered, but they did not. They fought, because everywhere. The same word echoed across radios, across streets, across the hearts of billions. Lara, she had become a fire that would not go out. Soldiers who once fled now stood tall. Civilians carried rifles and threw stones if they had nothing else. Children painted her symbol on walls of broken houses. Humanity, divided for centuries, had found something it had never truly known, unity, in the command center. General Kale spoke to leaders across the world. His voice was sharp but steady. "We are no longer many nations. We are one. Earth stands as one people. Our armies fight under one banner." He pointed to Ilara standing in silence. "Is that banner?" The leaders did not argue. They had seen her tear through machines that no missile could scratch. They had seen her shield armies with her own body. The first time in history, humanity had a weapon greater than fear. But the Valkyrie were not finished, in the black void. Above Earth, their council prepared their ultimate weapon. A ship larger than a moon, forged from ancient metal, its surface carved with runes that glowed like fire. It was not just a warship, it was a purifier. It's a kind of weapon used only once every 1,000 years to erase entire species from the stars. They called it the Oblivion Core. When the ship appeared on the edge of Earth's orbit, the world fell silent. It blotted out the stars, its shadow stretching across continents. Its voice reached every human mind. "The experiment is over. The flaw will be erased. The species will be erased. Alara felt the voice tear through her head like knives. Dropped to her knees, clutching her chest. The power inside her surged wildly, almost breaking free. Images flooded her mind visions, not of Earth, but of alien worlds long gone. She saw cages filled with species, their DNA tested, twisted, rewritten. She saw Valari scientists crafting life like clay. And she saw herself not her, but something like her born in those experiments. Her blood was not an accident. It was the result of something ancient. The Valari had tried to create the perfect weapon once before. They had failed. They had buried the results. But somehow, through time and chance, that buried design had survived. It had slept in human bloodlines for generations until it awakened in her. She was not their weapon. She was their mistake. Ilaros. Hands shook. "I was never meant to exist," she whispered. Kale grabbed her shoulder, his voice fierce. "You are not a mistake. You are proof they can be beaten. That is why they fear you." Her fear hardened into resolve. If the Valari wanted to erase her, if they wanted to erase humanity, then she would give them a reason to regret ever touching Earth. The battle began. The Oblivion Core opened its maw, gathering energy brighter than the sun. Beams of fire rained down, tearing oceans apart, splitting mountains, burning skies. Humanity's fleets rose to meet it. Thousands of ships, but they were ants against a storm. One by one, they were erased. On the ground, soldiers fought Valari machines in the ruins of cities. Explosions painted the night sky red. Humanity bled, but they refused to kneel. And in the heart of it all, Ilara stood. Her body glowed like a star, brighter than ever before. She leapt into the skies, higher and higher, until she broke the clouds and faced the Oblivion Core itself. Its surface stretched endlessly, glowing with power. The commander's voice thundered through her mind. "You are nothing. You are broken code. Cannot fight the will of the Valari." Alara's eyes burned with silver light. "I am not your code. I am not your design. I am human, and we do not bow." Her power erupted. Beams from the Oblivion Core bent around her, shattering into sparks. She struck its surface, and the ancient metal screamed, cracking for the first time in 1,000 years from Earth. Billions watched the sky as a single glowing figure fought a weapon larger than the moon itself. Soldiers on the ground raised their fists. Civilians cried out her name. The galaxy had judged humanity flawed. But in that moment, stars themselves trembled at the sight of what a single human could do. And deep in the broken ship, the Valari Council felt something they had not felt for ages. Fear, the sky above. Earth was fire. The Oblivion Core groaned as cracks spread across its vast body. Whole sections of alien metal broke off, tumbling through the atmosphere like burning meteors. Yet still, the ancient ship fought on, unleashing waves of destruction. Every strike tore the land. Every strike shattered human fleets. But humanity did not stop. For every city burned, another rose in defiance. For every ship destroyed, more launched into the fire. Humanity was bleeding, but they were not surrendering. And at the center of it all was Alara. Glowing brighter than the stars, she hurled herself against the core again and again, each strike shaking the heavens. The Valari commander's voice roared through her mind. "You cannot win. Even if you break us, the galaxy will rise against you. Humanity will never be allowed among the stars." Alara's body shook, pain cutting through her veins. The power inside her burned like fire, threatening to consume her completely. But she forced herself to stand tall. Her voice rang out across the skies, across every battlefield, across every human heart. "We don't need permission to rise. We don't need your approval. We only need one thing: our will to survive." The words spread like lightning. Soldiers heard them and roared louder. Pilots heard them and drove their ships deeper into the fight. Civilians, hiding in bunkers, whispered them through tears. Humanity's spirit burned hotter than any weapon. The core unleashed its final attack. The sky split as its weapon gathered, a beam strong enough to erase half a planet. The air trembled. Oceans boiled. Mountains cracked. But Alara rose to meet it. Her light wrapped around her body like wings. She was not just herself anymore. She carried the strength of billions, the belief of an entire world. The power inside her roared not wild this time, not uncontrolled. It was steady. It was hers. When the beam struck, the sky turned white. For a moment, the world held its breath. Then, through the storm, a figure emerged, still standing, still glowing. Alara pushed forward, step by step, against the impossible. With one final cry, she released everything, the core shattered. A shockwave rolled across the heavens, tearing the giant ship apart piece by piece. Its fragments burned like falling stars, raining light instead of fire. On Earth, soldiers dropped their weapons. In awe, civilians poured into the streets, pointing upward, shouting her name. For the first time since the war began, the night sky was clear. The Valerie fleets broke. Commanders who had never known fear ordered retreat. Their perfect order collapsed. Ships scattered into the dark, fleeing before the fury of one girl and the species she stood for. The war was over, but the silence that followed was not peace. It was a realization. The galaxy had seen. From distant worlds, hidden watchers had felt the fall of the core. They had heard the voice of a human defy the empire that caged them all. For the first time in centuries, hope spread across the stars. On Earth, Lara stood on the ruins of the battlefield, her body trembling, her glow fading. General Kale approached, his voice heavy with awe. "You did it," he whispered. Alara shook her head. "We did it. Humanity did it." Kale looked at the burning fragments in the sky. "They will come again. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe not for years. But the Valari will not forget this day." Lara's eyes, still faintly glowing, turned upward. "Good. Let them remember. Hey, let them fear." The world cheered. Humanity had survived the storm, had fought the unthinkable, had stood against the rulers of the stars. And in their victory, one truth was written across the galaxy. Humans were not flawed. They were unstoppable. And as Alara stood in the light of dawn, she knew this was only the beginning. The Valerie had tried to keep humanity caged. Instead, they had opened the door now. Nothing in the stars could stop them from walking through.